next week, theaters in Los Angeles opening up to 50% capacity.
And how are they doing that? Are they doing like every couple of seats or like what's the plan? Did they say?
No, not really. But they're going to have some type of, I mean, you're not going to have somebody right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I can see if 50%, it's going to be every other seat, I guess.
Okay, so I was all ready to be like, okay, great. Like getting vaccinated, I'm going to be out. You know, it's going to be so great. My boyfriend got his first shot. My parents are vaccinated. You know, my friends are all getting vaccinated. There's a story today in the news that in New York, there's a woman who was fully vaccinated.
Oh, no.
Like months ago. She's a teacher, so she was able to, and she's I think probably over 60. So she was able to get her vaccination, fully vaccinated. She's out on Long Island in Nassau County. Not what we were in Suffolk County when we worked there. She went to a wake. She was indoors with a bunch of people, did not wear a mask, didn't think she had to, vaccinated, came down with COVID. She's very sick.
Are you serious?
Yep.
That's got to be 1 out of a million.
Well,
that can't be the norm. That can't.
It's a lead story. It's a lead story right now here in New York that everyone's like, "Oh, what?" Like, so vaccinated, you can still get COVID. Nice.
Yeah, I want to know everything. I want to know what kind she had. Did she have two exactly 2 weeks apart? There's so many different questions I have. And,
you know, or is she sick with one of the variants? Is she, you know, right. I mean, that's why the vaccinations are not 100%. But here's the thing. They are like 96% or whatever. So that means that the fact that she got COVID, she's probably not going to die from it because at least she was vaccinated. It's like the flu. You get a flu shot. Doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu. You're less likely to get the flu. But if you get it, you know, instead of it being a 10, it's more like a 4 or a 2, depending on, you know, who you are.
So back in 2019, there was 107 theaters in Los Angeles County. Now it's down to 42.
What?
Yeah, so half of them went bye-bye.
Well, no, but they didn't go bye-bye because of COVID. They went bye-bye because of Netflix and Hulu, and everyone's watching movies at home or on their phones.
A little bit of everything, but yeah, they went bye-bye. So I can just imagine, let's say we die and go to heaven from COVID.
Okay.
And you got the COVID from a theater because you had to see Godzilla versus King Kong. You had to see it. I mean, what movie is so up there on your list that you're going to risk your life to go see? It's not going to be Godzilla versus King Kong. Ain't going to be it.
No, it has to be like a Marvel movie. It has to be like a superhero movie.
Explain to Jesus, I had to see King Kong and Godzilla. I had to see it. Tom and Jerry, had to see it in the movie theater.
Right.
I mean, everything's on TV now.
Right. If you're going to get COVID and die, it should at least be a movie that is worth, you know, ending your life over.
It should be for an orgy that you have to go to. It has to be for going to a wake to say goodbye to a good friend or something. It can't be for Godzilla and King Kong. It just can't be.
Right. No, it absolutely cannot be.
So, you know, think twice. That movie better be really damn good because now, you know, before when we walked out of a movie theater, we said, oh, God, that was a stupid movie. I hate that I just wasted $20. Can you imagine walking out going, I just wasted my whole life?
Literally.
And $20.
Right.
Because I had to see that stupid movie.
Well, here's the crazy thing is that my best friend and I, our thing is whenever a horror movie came out, we would go the first day and see it. And even then, sitting in the movie theater, this was like 2019, 2018, you know, way before COVID, the movie theater was still 50% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of COVID, because nobody goes to the movies anymore. It has nothing to do with COVID. So you can tell me that it's 50% capacity, but you'll be lucky if 10 people show up.
You come up with a new Star Wars, and I still am not going to risk my my health, even though I'm got 2 vaccinations. I'm not going to do it. It's not worth it to me. It's going to be on TV in 2 weeks. I can wait that long.
And you want any excuse to not leave your house anyway.
Exactly. So I'm not going out to see a stupid movie. Yeah, I can just imagine explaining to Jesus, I'm sorry, I had to see Godzilla. You don't understand. That, it was on my bucket list. I had to see that in movie theater.
And poor Jesus, right before Easter of all things.
I know. He's like, you couldn't wait? I mean, come on. We're probably going to be out of this COVID crap in 6 months. You can't wait 6 months. It's that freaking important to you that you have to go to see a movie or go to a bar.
If you're not in the movie, you don't have to go see the movie. If you're in the movie, I understand. But if you're not in the movie, if you aren't Godzilla.
Or Millie Bobby Brown, who's in the movie.
Right. Or Millie Bobby Brown.
Or King Kong.
Stay home. Right. But then there's a lot of people out there that just, they want to make sure they want to help local businesses. There's that too, it's interesting what's going on in New York, like all with I didn't know what restaurants were going to do, but they all have the cute little outdoor sitting areas, these little houses, but these little, like, some of them are like separate little bubbles. Some of them are just these beautiful, like, outdoor cafes, like, you feel like you're in Paris, I hope that never goes away. I hope even after COVID, because they used to put a couple like crappy tables outside on the street. It'd be rickety because of the sidewalks, but now they have these beautiful little mini oasis, keep those, keep that even after COVID. I want to sit in one of those in 2 years from now and have a coffee at your place. You
say that now because you don't drive a car, but everybody else that drives a car, they don't want that crap on the street because they took up a lane and there wasn't a lane to take up.
Well, that's the dangerous thing, because there was just recently, this was like inevitable. Like 2 cars had an accident. One of them careened out of control into one of these cafes. So not only did it injure the person in the other car, but it also injured some of the people who were just sitting and having a salad.
Wow. People on Long Island crash into cafes when they were surrounded by brick.
That's true. That's a very good point. That was the weirdest thing about being on Long Island. Every other day there was somebody else that was like driving through a 7-Eleven or driving through someone's living room. It happened all the time.
Yeah, and that 7-Eleven has been there since 1963. It's not like they just built it. And it's not like they built it in the middle of the road. It was always there. And
it's set back. You can drive up.
And
you
it was
don't have to drive into it.
Single day somebody would hit a building.
Yeah, that's true. That was a Long Island thing.
You got nuts to put a restaurant in a lane in New York.
So David Celia said Mean Girls. He said he'd risk his life for Dream Girls.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to die and be worm food because you had to see Showgirls.
Right.
I mean, come on. There is not one movie that I would risk my life to see.
Rob says he'd risk his life for a Cooper sex tape. If you can find one, let me know.
Send me your email. I'll send it to you.
And then David said movie theaters were actually disgusting before COVID. They were. And, one of the things that they're doing is to get people to entice them to come back is they're doing like that, the big, beautiful seats that recline. And and some of them in the city have waitress service. I mean, most of them now, like they've all renovated and they've all tried to make it like your living room because they know you don't want to leave your living room. So they're trying to make it like your living room, but with a giant screen and somebody who will bring you popcorn, which is like, who wants to get up? So, ka-ching. That's actually pretty good.
We were right there at the edge of being very cool in movie theaters. We were almost to the point of having beds in the movie theater. I mean, they had reclining chairs, they had all that, but no, COVID had to screw all that up. I know by now there would have been a waterbed movie theater somewhere.
No, of course. Like, what a great gimmick. But, one of those like reclining seat ones, I just went to the movies like before COVID. They had like I don't know whether it was like a remake or whatever of The Grudge, and it was terrible. So I went with a couple of friends and we were sitting in those reclining seats, and there was a person sitting in the reclining seat in front of us who brought a pillow and a blanket and was fast asleep.
Yeah, they do that. You'll hear people snoring. And you're like, really? You could have done this at home. I mean, you don't have to do that here.
Like, I know the movie's bad, but, must you snore?